everyone! Today I'm going to be unboxing all 4 versions of Key's second full-length solo album, Gasoline. I do have all 4 versions of the album here today. I have the Floppy version, the VHS version, and both versions of the Booklet version. Much like his previous album, Bad Love, he has continued the retro-themed packaging, which I think is super fun. I love that 2 of the versions are shaped like a floppy disk and a VHS. That's definitely not something you see often in anything, really, not just K-pop. And I think that fun physical formats like that are so cool. For Bad Love, there were multiple covers for the booklet version, but I only got 1 copy of that because the actual photo books were the same. This time around, the album details specified that the photo books were supposed to be different, so I did order both copies. I was surprised he didn't do a cassette tape version again, but I'm wondering if maybe the sales weren't high enough, or perhaps this album was just too long to fit on a cassette, because I know they have a more limited capacity compared to other physical formats of music. And this album has been out for close to a month. However, there were production issues with the VHS version that delayed a lot of orders being shipped out, so I did not receive my copies until September. Here is a closer look at the floppy version, and I really cannot say enough how fun I think this version of the album is. It's such a creative concept, and I really would never expect anyone but Key to come up with something like this. Of course, his debut solo album, Face, was incredible, but the physical packaging of Bad Love and Gasoline is just absolutely next level and makes his albums so much fun to collect. I love the retro-themed packaging, and his visual concepts are so cool as well. Floppy disks were actually just a tiny bit before my time, so while I am aware of them, I have seen them before. It's been quite a long time, and I did not personally use them, so I'm not super familiar with how this compares in size to a real floppy disk. It is pretty small, though. I don't have a jewel case in front of me to compare, but I do feel like this might be jewel case sized. I love the way this is textured, if you can see. Like there are indents like there would be on a real floppy disk. You've got this very nice metallic silver, and then the trackless part is a sticker label. I love the graphic design of this here. I love the little monster character and the track list. Of course, it's an incredible album. All of Key's solo music is so good. And there are 11 songs on here, which is a pretty good amount for K-pop albums nowadays. I feel like a lot of full albums nowadays are like 8 to 10 songs, so anything more than that I am super pleased with. We have our title track, Gasoline, and then the B-sides, Bound, Villain, featuring Jeno of NCT, Burn, Guilty Pleasure, Greatest of All Time, I Can't Sleep, Ain't Gonna Dance, Another Life, Delight, and Proud. And again, every song is fantastic. Another Life was actually previewed at his Keyland concert that he did for Bad Love. There was a VCR played during that concert, which was a music video of that song. And when that happened, everyone was kind of like, what the heck is this? Because obviously it wasn't a song on Bad Love. I have loved that song since the moment I saw that video. So unsurprisingly, it is one of my favorite songs on this album here. But again, the entire thing is absolutely incredible. On the spine, there is no, like, writing or anything. I suppose that's to mimic the floppy disk design. And I believe that's how this thing is gonna open up. Hoping I don't have to take off the sticker, because that would be a pain. Okay, I did just look up another unboxing, and I do believe the intention, unfortunately, is for you to open it with the sticker. but I really did not want to do that because I just know that the way the sticker is, I can tell that it would tear very easily and then I wouldn't be able to reseal it like I want to. So I struggled to pull this out. You can see that it did become a little bit crinkled, and it is a bit of a long tab, so it's clearly not how they intend for you to open it. But I just really did not want to break the sticker or rip the sticker, so that is what I chose to do. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. You can see on the inside there's the larger flap where you're supposed to open it, but this was the choice that I made. I do wish that they had just made these tabs a little bit smaller, so it would be easier to open it that way. Either that or like had one of the sides be open and have it slide out more like a digipack. But these are just minor critiques about the execution of the design. I still think the overall design is super, super cool. So inside we have our booklet, which we can see is a thinner booklet. This absolutely reminds me of a normal jewel case booklet, which makes me think this is most likely jewel case sized, which I'm perfectly okay with. I know a lot of groups nowadays are doing jewel case or digipack versions, so the more compact album size has been super common in K-pop these days, and I find this execution so much more interesting than standard jewel case or digipack. I would much rather see something like this than a normal jewel case with a really thin booklet. And then right behind it we have our photo card. I don't typically go out of my way to collect photo cards for soloists. I usually just keep whichever ones I pull, so I'm not super picky about what I get for these albums, and I don't remember off the top of my head how many different versions there are per album version. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Oh, I really like this photo card too. This is one of my favorite looks that he wore in the Gasoline music video. So I'm super happy to have a photo card of it. I know that's one complaint that some people had about this album, is that the music video concept is completely different from the album photo shoot. And normally I'm not a huge fan of that either. I normally do prefer when those match up. I know SM is pretty famous for having album concepts that don't necessarily match the music video concept. And with Key specifically, I know he has a lot of say in his concepts. So it doesn't bother me because I'm sure it was something that he chose when creating this album. You also get a folded poster. I feel like those have been really common in K-pop albums these days, and it does fold out to be fairly decently sized. It is bigger than the actual album. So let me zoom out so y'all can see it. It's a lot more compact than the actual big posters that come with the album. That's one of the things I feel like SM is super infamous for, is having really giant pre-order posters. And I don't have a lot of wall space, so I'm not able to put up a lot of SM posters. So these little posters like this are wonderful, because this would be a lot easier for me to put on my wall and display. And of course the back is just blank. Of course we've got our CD itself. I like that it comes in this envelope, in this pouch. I love that this is not sealed with a sticker. I know SM's done that before and it's not my favorite thing. And I also love that it wasn't just loose. There were a couple Idol albums that I bought that had the CDs just completely loose, not secured in anything, and that has like scarred me for life when it comes to K-pop albums with creative packaging. And then the actual disc, I adore this design because the way it is with the black ring and then the lighter colored part, which has the album details, it is made to look like a vinyl record, I'm pretty sure. which I just think is so cool. It fits the retro theme so well, and I love the little illustration of the floppy disk there. It's so cute. I know the disc designs are like an afterthought for a lot of albums, so whenever there is attention to detail put into them, I always appreciate it. And we also get a sticker sheet, which is not my favorite inclusion in albums. I'm not a huge sticker person, but this is a really cute sheet of stickers. I don't know if these were drawn by Key or if these just have like a hand-drawn look to them, but either way I think it's really cute and fun. And now, finally, let's take a look at the actual photo book. Again, I love the design here. I love all the different versions of Key. I love the way the pictures are printed in black and white. Again, giving off that gorgeous retro vibe. Oh, that's interesting that we've got the credits on the back. That's kind of fun, though, because that way they're not taking up a page of the actual booklet. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure of the dimensions, but I feel like this is jewel case size. This feels like a very familiar size format. Again, I love the concepts here. The photo shoot feels very 80s horror movie, and I love that. I feel like we've got, like, mad scientist Key here, which is so fun. And then we've got this, like, protagonist Key, like the plucky, adventurous kid in the 80s movie. It's so fun. Now this look, I believe, was actually featured in the Gasoline music video. I think it might have been styled a little differently, but this look does feel very familiar from the video. If not this exact look, there was something similar to it at least. Oh, okay, this is fun. This outfit he actually wore for a music show stage for Villain. I love the, like, green sprayed in his hair. This whole look is so fun to me. And I actually really do appreciate that we do have some through lines with the music video and music show promotions. Because the teaser photos that I remembered were the more 80s movie ones, so I forgot that these concepts were in here as well. Yeah, this look is so cool. It might be my favorite in this photo shoot so far. And we have our lyrics for Gasoline, Bound, and Villain. Again, I love these little illustrations. Those are so cool. Burn, Guilty Pleasure, Greatest of All Time, and I Can't Sleep. And Gonna Dance, Another Life, Delight, and Proud. And I do also want to point out that Another Life is entirely in English. I do think it's really cool how for all of Key's solo albums, he has had one song that was completely in English. I think that is a really nice thing to do for his international fans. Of course, he has no obligation to release music in English. I adore his music no matter what language it's in, but it feels like a really nice gesture that he doesn't have to do, but I am appreciative of the fact that he does do that. And yeah, so that is it for the floppy version. It is fairly simple. That makes perfect sense with the compact size of the album. As I said, I strongly suspect that this is meant to be the jewel case or digipack type version of this album, and I think this execution is so much cooler and so much more interesting than an actual jewel case. Next up, we're going to take a look at the VHS version, which I think is the one most people were most excited about. I just feel like it lends itself to the 80s horror concept so well. The cover design, it really looks like an 80s VHS cover. It's so cool. I like that you see all the different versions of Key. I love the, like, Halloween castle illustration. We've got the little fuzzy monster guy. I just adore it. And another thing that I think is very cool about this version is it doesn't come in shrink wrap, it's in a resealable plastic bag, which is a super cool way to easily keep this from getting damaged. I am going to go ahead and open this bag so it'll be easier to take a look at the details without glare. But I did just want to point out that it was sealed that way before I opened it up. Oh my gosh. I grew up in the 90s and like the early 2000s were like my childhood. Holding this album is like an immediate flashback. It legitimately feels like a VHS case. Like, the plastic is obviously sturdier. Here, I should actually show it to you while I'm talking about it. The plastic is obviously sturdier than actual VHS cases. Those were like really flimsy, thin plastic. But other than that, like, the way they did this with the like thin layer of clear plastic with the design wrapping around inside of that, it is exactly like how VHSs are packaged. I knew this was going to look like a VHS case, but I didn't expect it to be such a close recreation, you know what I mean? I am like genuinely shook by how cool this is. Key is seriously one of the coolest artists in K-pop when it comes to album packaging. He sets the bar so freaking high. I am just so impressed with this right now. And the spine, I adore the spine. Again, this literally looks like a VHS spine. What I'm personally immediately reminded of is if anyone had Power Rangers VHSs, they would often come, they'd have like a number at the top and like one of the Rangers in a little pose like this at the bottom. That's what I'm immediately thinking of. I'm sure there were other VHSs that had designs like that, but that's what it calls to mind from my childhood. I just adore this. I haven't even opened it yet, and I'm just so in love with this packaging. And even the back of it, with the way the pictures are set up, like the still images from the back of the VHS case, and the track listing done, like how the description would be. Even the font is like a font that they would use in the VHS descriptions. Seriously, I cannot stress to you enough how freaking cool this packaging is. If you ever had a VHS at any point in your life, and you are a fan of Key's music, I highly recommend picking this up because it is just a major flashback in the best way possible. I sound like a broken record, but I'm just so impressed with this packaging. Even the way it opens up, it's good. I am like so impressed with this. Like the way the clasps are, this is so freaking cool, y'all. I cannot get over this. Then we have all of our inclusions that I'm going to set to the side so we can take a look at the disc first. Obviously this part is not how VHSs were because VHSs are the big blocky cassettes. They're not discs. So obviously this part is going to be a little different. But again, we've got the disc that looks like a vinyl record. I love that it's a different design from the floppy disk one, though. And again, the little monster creature, I just adore that character so much. So freaking cool. We have the photo book. I can see there's some cards and some other stuff stuffed in the booklet. Again, I love the packaging. I love that we've got the black and white art again. I love that it's similar to, yet different from the floppy version booklet. The design on the spine, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then the back cover as well. And then we've also got, it looks like another folded poster. And then some postcards, which I'm excited to look at. I love how many different posters there are for this album in total. I'm not sure, actually, thinking about it, these folded posters might have different versions as well. They might have been a random item, I'm not sure. Let me zoom out just a bit so y'all can see that closer. This is the one look that's similar to the music video looks. Again, super cool, and I do appreciate that these are smaller than the main posters. I love the main posters, they're just a little too big to be practical sometimes. And now let's take a look at these postcards. So they are glossy, which is very nice. Oh, that's so fun. So the front has the color photo, and then the back has a black and white version with the logos. That's so fun. I really, really like that. So we've got the villain outfit. We've got the... I need to catch your name for that. Like, elegant outfit, maybe? I really like that one. I love the dinner table display with the candelabra. So, so fun. We've got the protagonist key. He almost looks like he's ready to go ghost busting or something like that. With his little gun. These are so cool. And then mad scientist key, of course. Yeah, I am really loving this version. I haven't even got to the photo book yet. Okay, so I took out the inclusions from the photo book because those were sticking out. And the first thing, of course, is our regular photo card, but we also have a pack of the collector cards, which I love. He did that in one of the versions of Bad Love as well, so I like that this is a recurring thing. And I also appreciate that this one is easier to open than the one in Bad Love. You had to cut that one open, but this time we've got a little tear strip. So you don't, like, completely ruin the envelope by opening it. And there were different versions of these, I'm pretty sure. I think you get, like, mostly concept cards, but I think there was a random selfie card as well. I'm gonna assume, judging by the back, that the ones with the purple back are probably concept cards, and this is probably the selfie card. I don't remember how many different versions of these there were, but it looks like we're probably going to have one for each character again. So we've got villain key, elegant key, mad scientist key. I'm going to call him Ghostbuster key. Okay, and you do get a selfie card. That is also a very cute selfie card. Like I said, I don't really remember how many there were and what all the different options were. But I think that one is super cute. I actually really like the concept cards as well. I'm super excited to display all of these in my binder. And then for the actual selfie card... Oh, that's cute. I honestly love the photo cards where he pulls the kind of goofy faces like this. I think they're so fun. And now on to the photo book. Again, I just really like the form factor of this. I like how sturdy it feels. I love the size, the thickness of the booklet. Super, super excited to get into this. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that it starts off with 2 blank red pages, but that's a very minor gripe. Oh, I love this shot. That's so dramatic. I adore that. Oh, this is fun! It's got, like, a VHS tape. I forget what these are actually called, but like when you're watching back like a home movie VHS tape, they would have stuff like this on them sometimes on the screen. That's so freaking fun, y'all. I love that it's not just a photo book, that you've also got those little VHS details here. Again, Key is just such a mastermind when it comes to his album concepts. Oh, I love the way these lyric pages are set up. So we've got gasoline. This photo book honestly feels very cinematic. Not just the pictures themselves, but also like the order they're in. It definitely feels like it's trying to tell a visual story. The lyrics for Pound. Again, I'm just in love with the graphic design of this version. Like, I thought the Floppy version was cool, and obviously it is, but like this one is already blowing that one like way out of the water, personally. Maybe I should have saved this version for last, because I don't know if the booklet versions can live up to this. And like this set here, I'm sure a lot of that is like digitally added, but it just looks so freaking cool. I don't think I realized the cross cutout on the back of this jacket. That's so freaking cool. Got the lyrics for Villain. Seriously, I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but I'm just obsessed with this album right now. This version in particular was absolutely worth the wait. Oh, you know what? That is a glass of red liquid he's drinking. That might be Vampire Key. That might be what I call that key from here on out. If he's given official names to these characters, please forgive me. I'm behind on a lot of content. There's too much coming out from like everyone I stan right now. It's hard to keep up. This photo book is so cool. We've got the lyrics for Burn. I feel like Key and Taman both are just so incredible as soloists. Got the lyrics for Guilty Pleasure. Because I feel like with Taman, it's like every time he releases something, it's better than his previous release. And I feel like I always think, how can he possibly top this? And then he somehow does. And I feel like he has done the same thing with his solos. Like, Face is one of my favorite K-pop albums, not just by a soloist, but like of all time. And Bad Love was even better than Face. And conceptually, like, this is somehow blowing Bad Love even out of the water. And I feel like when he did Bad Love, I was like, how in the world is he gonna top this? Somehow he has. Okay, so we're moving on to Ghostbuster Key, as I'm calling him now. The lyrics for Goat. I think it's fun how it's like we've got two different storylines going on, perhaps. Like, we've got Villain Key, it seems like discovering Vampire Key. And now we have Ghostbuster Key locked up in Mad Scientist Key's workshop. I think that's really fun, how the different keys are not just photo shoot concepts, but they're like interacting with each other. I think that's so fun. Got the lyrics for I Can't Sleep. Again, I just love this little creature. Oh, I love these. If any of you have seen the edits online that are like K-pop MVs as films, where they'll take stills from a music video and like put lyrics over it and make it look like a movie still, that's what these are giving. And I think that's so cool with the VHS concept. The attention to detail with Key's albums is just insane. The lyrics for Ain't Gonna Dance. And I do feel like the actual album, like the music, I feel like that got a bit more of a mixed review compared to Bad Love. Which I do understand. I feel like the title track, Gasoline, it's a different sound than Key has done before, and I understand that it is a sound that not everybody is a huge fan of. It's very anthemic, but I, for one, love it. So I feel like musically it's absolutely on the same level as the previous music. Even if you're not a huge fan of the music this time around, you can't deny, like, visually that this is amazing. You can't deny that he's managed to one-up himself in terms of concept. Got the lyrics for Another Life. Oh my gosh, speaking of retro, I used to have one of these. It was actually my dad's. I don't remember when he got it originally, but I know it was like an old thing. I don't have it anymore. I think we got rid of it when we moved. But that's definitely a throwback. This whole concept is just, it's everything. I know I keep saying that, but I'm just so impressed. I love the little wig he wore for this character, too. Got the lyrics for Delight. I also appreciate that even though it's, like, campy and horror, it's not bloody or gory. Because, unfortunately, I am very sensitive to blood and gore, and the reason it's unfortunate is I actually really like horror concepts. I just can't enjoy them often, unfortunately, because they tend to be bloody and gory. So I do appreciate that he did not include those elements in his horror concept. Got the lyrics for Proud. I just love that little creature so much. I love these pages. That's so fun. He's rescuing the little guy. We got our credits. And that is the end of that photo book. Yeah, that is just... like, I have to physically applaud because I'm just so amazed by how incredible this album packaging is. I think this is now my favorite K-pop packaging of all time. And I've been collecting albums since 2010. So, I've got a lot of albums to compare. And yeah, this one just, it's above and beyond. I also love that we didn't have any repeated images from the other versions, or from the floppy version to the VHS version at least. I don't remember if Bad Love actually had repeated images or if they were just similar, but that was my one complaint with those albums. So I really appreciate that that so far hasn't been the case with Gasoline. I am honestly expecting there to be some repeated images in the booklet versions, so I won't be disappointed if there are, but it would be really awesome if those are completely unique images as well. So the booklets this time around came in two versions. This one was labeled as Chapter 1, and this one was labeled as Chapter 2. And looking at the covers, I feel like what we might have, based on the VHS version photo book, this one might have Villain Key and Vampire Key, and this one might have Mad Scientist Key and Ghostbuster Key. And if that's the way they divided it up, I think that's pretty sick. Because this might be an unpopular opinion, but when there are different versions of an album, I tend to prefer that the versions are completely unique when it comes to photo book. For example, if a group has 3 versions of an album and they have 3 different photo shoots, I prefer each version to exclusively have pictures from that photo shoot instead of each version having different pictures from the same photo shoot. There are, of course, pros and cons to both, because I know when the versions do include all the different photo shoots, then you don't have to buy all of the different versions to get all of the different concepts. I do understand if you're on a budget as a collector why you might prefer to have all the photo shoots and all the different versions. But for me personally, conceptually, design-wise, I just tend to prefer it when they're separate. So I'm kind of hoping that that is how they split this up, and that this has 2 of the photo shoot concepts and the other one has the other 2. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to look through these. And with SM, I do feel like they've gotten into a bit of a pattern with their releases lately. Obviously, they are still a little bit different for each artist and each release, but I do feel like recently a lot of their artists will have like a photo book version that's bigger like this, and then like a jewel case version and maybe a third version. And even though the photo book versions are usually the biggest, and so it is good to have the pictures in a bigger format, I feel like they're usually the least exciting in terms of packaging, because they are kind of similar to each other and not super unique. That being said, I really enjoy the graphic design of these covers. I like the way it's all illustrations and not like an actual picture. And I also find it really striking the way it's all one color with the black illustration. I think that's really cool and not something you usually see with K-pop. I feel like album covers are usually either just a design, like a logo, or just a picture of the artist. I think this is a super cool in-between thing where it is an illustration, but it's an illustration of a picture and not just a logo design. I think that's super cool and super different. The spine is like a lot of SM photo book versions lately, where there is no text, it's just like the exposed staples. This is not my favorite kind of binding. Like I said, SM has been using this for a lot of their artists lately, so I figured that was how this version would be, and I feel like it's one of the reasons I'm usually less excited by these versions lately. But as I said with Bad Love, I do feel like for these albums it makes sense because it gives it kind of a retro comic book or magazine feel, which makes sense for Key's concept. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the exposed staples, but I don't mind them when they work with the concept of the album, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't really like them for Don't Call Me. I wish that had a proper binding, especially because the Atlantis albums, which were the same size, did have a more proper binding on the spine. But for retro concepts like this, like I said, I don't really mind them. And again, the track list is in that same illustrated style with these illustrations of Key. I really, really, really like the packaging design of this. Honestly, all 4 versions kind of knocked it out of the park with packaging for me. So I'm going to take a look at the inclusions first, because they were kind of bulky and sticking out. So we've got our SM ad. Oh, that's a cute photo card. I kind of like that it's only half his face, actually. I think it's weird and unique, and I like that when it comes to Key especially, because it really suits his vibe. And also, this shows that at least this part, it was a practical set. Like, I figured most of this would be CGI, but the fact that it's in the selfie photo card tells me they really did build all of that, which I adore. I am a huge practical sets enthusiast. And that is the back of it. I love that he wrote a little English message. So sweet. We've got our stickers. I like that these are different stickers than the ones we got in the floppy version. I do appreciate that. The disc itself is packaged very similarly to the floppy version in this envelope, but the actual disc design is completely different. Again, I love that each version of the album has a different disc design, and I love that this one continues the monochromatic illustrations. I don't know why I'm enjoying that theme so much here, but I really enjoy the aesthetic of it. And I like that this version, too, is like a pearl aqua color. I love that. And then we've got, it looks like a postcard. So we got Villain Key. I presume there was another one that was Vampire Key. That is a super cute postcard. And the pages for this are like the very thin, matte feeling kind of paper, which again, I like here because I feel like it gives it like retro magazine vibes. It does feel like we're off to a different start because the VHS one started with Villain Key, and here we're starting with Vampire Key. So there is conceptual overlap, but that was to be expected with the fact that the VHS one had all of the concepts. That is such a striking picture. And that one too. I really love the spread here. So gorgeous. Oh, I love, 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 love the red wash on that. That is so gorgeous. I think there may be a little bit of picture overlap with the VHS version. But I feel like there's enough unique images and the larger page format is enough that I don't mind it. Like, I really, really like these pages. And I know that's not something we saw in the VHS version. That is so gorgeous. I think these two are my favorite photo concepts out of all the different photo shoots. Again, I love the red washed photos. Those are so gorgeous. Based on how far into the photo book we are, I do think my assumptions may be correct that this version has these two photo shoots and the other one has the other two, which I honestly really like. And then we've got our lyrics, and I would like to know who started this trend of having the lyrics book be this like really tiny mini book that's attached to the bigger photo book. Because it's not just an SM thing, because both of One Wee's mini albums do this too. And it's such a strange choice. Like, I would have never thought to do something like this, and the fact that multiple artists are doing it in multiple companies, I just want to know where this idea came from, because it's quite strange to me. And these pages feel super thin, like even thinner than the main pages. But I do like the graphic design here. I think that's really fun. And I'll just flip through this really quick, because we have seen the lyrics to all the songs before. But again, I love the illustrations here. I think they're so fun. I just really, really like the execution of this concept. Like, I like the concept itself, and I also really like the way they executed it. Then we've got our credits, and then back to the photo book. Genuinely, I think my only complaint about any of these versions is just the way that the floppy version opens. That's literally it. Everything else, like, I adore. Yeah, I honestly did not realize until I opened these albums that the two booklet versions were going to have completely different photo shoots compared to each other. I really thought it was going to be the same 4 photo shoots in all of them, just different pictures. I really, really like how they split these up. And it goes back to what I was saying with the VHS version, how it's like these 2 keys have a story, and then the other 2 keys have a different story. I love this. I love the design of this world with the cartoony mushrooms and like the Halloween castle. It's just so freaking fun. I feel like I'm a broken record, but I just cannot get over how much Key really knocked it out of the park with this album design. I am so, so impressed. And finally, last but not least, we have our Chapter 2 version, the purple one. Very similar concept to Chapter 1, but of course the images are totally different because this is the mad scientist concept more so. Again, there is no proper spine design. And again, I love that the graphics are completely different on both of these versions. I am so, so, so impressed. Let me go ahead and get my goodies out. So, this time around, the sleeve for the disc is purple, of course, matching the album design. The disc itself is also purple. I love that these both have heart designs, too. I really, really appreciate how all the different versions have different design elements, but they all work together really well. For the postcard, I got Ghostbuster Key. Again, love the curly hair. The stickers for this version. And then, oh! Well, that's something I didn't expect. For the photo card, I got Villain Key. I did not expect a Villain Key photo card in this version because I don't think there are pictures of this concept in here. So that is one other very, very, very minor complaint. I would have appreciated a little more consistency with the photo cards matching up with the different versions, but I'm not sure what all of the different options were. And again, a super cute card. Super happy with this one. So we've got our protagonist, who I'm affectionately calling Ghostbuster Key, sneaking into this lab, it looks like. I feel like this will give us a slightly clearer idea of the story. Yeah, it looks like for this one, maybe this version should have come first and then the VHS one. Because he was already captured the first time we saw him in the VHS version. Here he's sneaking in. That's a really cool picture. Yeah, I really love the way they split these concepts up for these versions. I was not expecting that, and I really, really appreciate that design choice. Seriously, all of these looks are just so cool. Is this where he has become captured? We've got our lyrics booklet. This does look like it's going to be the same design as the Chapter 1 version, just with a different color. Which, fair enough. It does make sense to have these be the same images. I'm still just really impressed that the other two versions had different designs for the lyrics books. Because that's not always something you see. Oh, yep, there we go. Now he's captured. That's so cute. Him and the little creature bonding. Oh, I love the nails. That's so cool. I feel like I'm moving through this version a bit quicker compared to the others, but I've realized how long this video already is. So I'm trying to speed it up a bit so it's not too terribly long. Again, I just love these pictures with like the oval portrait design. So gorgeous. I definitely feel like, even though there are a handful of repeated images, you get enough unique stuff with each version that if you are a huge collector of Key or Shiny, or you just really, really like the aesthetics of this album or the different versions, I don't think you can go wrong with getting all 4 versions. That being said, if you are on a tighter budget and want to stick with just one, I would recommend the VHS one, because I definitely feel like it's the best of everything. You get all the different concepts, you get the really cool packaging, and you get like those extra VHS style details in the photo book as well. Yeah, I definitely do think in terms of the storyline, I should have looked at the booklet versions before the VHS one, because this one ends with him still tied up. And then the second one, or the VHS one, we've got his escape. I really appreciate that too. That like there is a story being told visually. I think that's really fun. And again, just the incredible attention to detail that I have come to expect from Key now with Bad Love and now this. I just, like, I'm looking at these and I'm like, how in the world will he ever be able to top these in the future? And I just know somehow he will, because he's Key. Overall, I was really impressed with all 4 of these albums. I highly, highly recommend picking up a copy if you haven't already. But that is it for today's unboxing. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to see more unboxings or K-pop hauls like this one, you can check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.